You start excited, long conversations, easy laughter. Then, distance. There was no fight, no clear mistake, just fewer replies, fewer invitations, less you. You replay everything, every sentence, every reaction, trying to find the flaw. You think, was I too much? Or maybe, not enough? You never know. And it eats you alive. Here's the truth that hurts. People don't pull away because you're difficult. They pull away when you stop being real. When you try too hard to be accepted. What if it's not rejection? What if it's self-abandonment? What if, without noticing, you're teaching people how to lose you? You are not pushing people away for being cold, nor for being too intense. You push them away because you learned early that you had to adapt to be loved, and it became automatic. You don't even notice when it starts. You only feel it when it ends. Alone again, confused again. This has a name. Carl Jung called it the persona, a version of you created to survive emotionally, not to truly connect. It's born when being yourself feels dangerous, when pleasing feels safer, when disagreement costs love, and silence costs less than rejection. You learn to read the room, to sense the other person's mood, to adjust before anyone asks. You anticipate, you shapeshift, you shrink, all to avoid losing, all to avoid being a burden. At first, it works. People like you. They feel comfortable. You seem easy to be around. But it's not intimacy. It's emotional convenience, and it never lasts. It never holds, because connection requires presence, and presence requires truth. But your truth was stored away, hidden, afraid of being too much or being rejected. So you offer an edited version and call it love. You don't do this to manipulate. You do it out of fear, old fear, childhood fear, fear of being left like before. So you abandon yourself first. You adapt before the pain hits. You disappear before someone leaves. And when they pull away, you confirm the old belief. See, I'm not enough. But that's not the truth. The truth is harder. They never connected with you. They connected with the mask. And masks exhaust people. This is where the cycle begins. You try harder. You adjust more. You give more. And lose yourself more. Until no one is left. Not them. Not even you. This didn't start now. It didn't start in this relationship. Or the last one. It started when being you felt unsafe. And pleasing felt like survival. But survival always has a cost. It always does. Quietly. You think you choose people, but you're actually recognizing sensations. The same emotional distance, the same need to prove yourself, the same knot in your stomach. This isn't coincidence. It's familiarity. And the brain calls that safety. You connect fast. You listen too much. You understand too much. You tolerate too much. You call it maturity. But often it's old training. You learned early how to adapt. Now you call it love. You're drawn to people who don't show up, who don't ask questions, who don't stay. Because deep down, you know this game. You've lived it before. You know how to wait, how to adjust, how to survive in the almost. When someone gets close for real, you feel strange, suspicious, bored, or afraid. Because there's no role to play, no one to save, no effort to define you. So without noticing, you pull away. You become less available, less present, less whole. Not because you don't want love, but because you don't know how to exist without adapting. Intimacy exposes you, and exposure has always felt dangerous. Here's the hidden pattern. You confuse love with effort, connection with anxiety, presence with sacrifice. When it doesn't hurt, it feels empty. When it's simple, it feels wrong. So you return to what's familiar, even when it hurts. And every repetition reinforces the belief, I always end up alone. Something in me ruins everything. But this isn't destiny. It's unconscious repetition. An old story playing again, with new faces, same ending. If you see yourself in these words, it's not by accident. This channel exists for those who are tired of repeating patterns and want to understand their soul with clarity and faith applied to real life. By subscribing, you're not following a channel. You're choosing not to walk alone through this process. Here, your pain is neither ignored nor romanticized. It's understood, confronted, and transformed. At first, you call it tiredness, then discouragement, until it becomes something deeper, a void you can't quite explain. You do everything right. You listen, you support, you adapt, but at the end of the day, you feel unseen, unchosen, unremembered, just emotionally used. You start asking yourself, why do I always give more? Why does no one stay? Why am I always the strong one? And the answer hurts. Because being strong became an obligation, not a choice. You don't ask, you endure. Loneliness changes shape. It's no longer being alone. It's being surrounded and still empty. Laughing in groups and coming home heavy, messages on your phone, but no one who truly knows you. That wears you down, that drains you. Little by little, you abandon yourself. To keep the bond, you silence discomfort, ignore boundaries, say, it's fine when it's not. Smile so you won't lose them, and pay the price in silence, always in silence. This is where the dangerous identity forms. I'm the one who holds everything together. I'm the one who understands everything. I'm the one who can't fall. But those who never fall are never held, never cared for, never allowed to rest. Then comes the false solution. You try to love more, give more, offer more. You believe that if you're enough, someone will stay. But it never works, because love isn't born from effort. It's born from reciprocity. Another trap appears. You decide to shut down, not feel, not attach, be cold, independent. But that fails too, because it's not strength, it's avoidance. You get stuck between two extremes, giving everything or giving nothing, and neither is love. One exhausts you, the other isolates you. And in the middle of it all, you're still alone. Healing doesn't begin when someone stays. It begins when you stop abandoning yourself. It's not dramatic. It's a quiet decision, daily, uncomfortable, but necessary and deeply freeing. First action, stop over-explaining yourself. Anyone who needs long explanations to stay is already looking for a way out. You don't convince someone to choose you. Presence isn't negotiated. Interest isn't begged for. Reciprocity is observed. Second action, learn to tolerate the discomfort of being yourself, the silence after saying no, the fear of not pleasing, the anxiety of not adapting. That discomfort isn't danger. It's deconditioning. It's your system learning something new. You will lose people in this process, not because you got worse, but because you stopped performing. Some only like the version that served them, not the whole woman. And that hurts. But healing hurts too. It just hurts to free you. You don't need to shut down, or harden, or become distant. You just need to stop going where you don't fit whole. Stop explaining boundaries. Stop justifying feelings. Those who want to stay, stay in reality, not in effort. This is the new filter. Not chemistry, not intensity, not emotional urgency, but peace, consistency, presence without fear, you being able to breathe. At first, it feels like loneliness because the noise stops, but then space appears, and in that space, you meet yourself without masks, without tension, without fear of losing. Hey, if you got distracted, come back here with me now. Breathe, pay attention. Because what comes next is the most important part of all this. God doesn't enter when everything is fixed. He enters when you stop pretending to be strong, when the mask falls, when silence finally speaks. You thought he was distant, but maybe he was waiting for you to step out of the role, waiting for you to stop abandoning yourself. Because God doesn't connect with masks. He comes close to the real heart, even broken, especially broken. There's something you may have missed. Guarding your heart isn't selfish. It's wisdom. It's spiritual maturity. The Bible doesn't ask you to empty yourself for everyone. It asks you to protect what is sacred in you, because life flows from there, not from effort, but from truth. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." It doesn't say give it to anyone or shape yourself to fit. It says guard it. Because what's valuable isn't handed out in desperation. It's shared with awareness, with those who know how to care. And when you can't guard it alone, when your heart is tired, wounded, confused, the promise doesn't change. God doesn't require strength to come close. He comes close to weakness. He meets you on the ground. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted." Close, not distant, not judging, present. While you learn how to exist without erasing yourself, maybe loneliness wasn't punishment. Maybe it was protection. a sacred pause, a necessary desert, where God separated you from what drained you, to give you back to yourself, whole, without negotiation. Faith doesn't erase pain, it gives it meaning. It shows that not everything lost is loss. Some departures are rescue, some distances are divine care, and some emptiness is space for what's new, for what's real. Now you understand. Nothing was wrong with you. You were just trying to belong in places where you had to disappear. The behaviors that pushed people away weren't character flaws. They were old survival strategies, formed when being yourself felt dangerous, when pleasing felt like love, when adapting felt like safety. But now, you see, they were costing you your soul. Psychology gave you clarity. It revealed the pattern, exposed the mask. Faith gave you courage to remove it without fear, to exist without bargaining, to love without self-erasure. Whole, present, real. You no longer need to prove your worth, chase attention, or shapeshift to fit. Those who leave now don't take pieces of you with them, because you stayed with yourself, and that changes everything. Loneliness doesn't vanish overnight. It transforms into space, into discernment, into a filter, into silence that protects, not emptiness that hurts, but peace that selects. You didn't lose people. You lost versions of yourself that bled to be loved, and you gained something greater: awareness, boundaries, wholeness, and faith applied to real life. The cycle closes here. You are not doomed to repeat. You can choose differently, because now you see, now you feel, now you know, and those who know don't go back to sleep. If this message resonated with you, subscribe right now to our channel. Here you'll find psychology that explains, faith that sustains, and truths that set you free. Each video is an invitation to break cycles and build real relationships. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Stay, walk, grow with us. If you made it to the end of this video, comment, "I choose not to abandon myself." This simple act is a spiritual declaration. Scripture shows that when you take a stand, God draws near. May this mark the beginning of a new cycle, more aware, lighter, more real.